It's good to have him speak to us, especially after all the brouhaha in Parliament in the last 2 days. Also, good morning, sir, and Merry Christmas to you.
Good morning, and the same to you.
Thank you so much, and I hope that you're doing well this morning.
Yes.
All right. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that you have followed proceedings in Parliament in the last few days. I remember sometime in January this year, you granted an interview and your views were sought on, the brouhaha in Parliament on the 6th of January with regards to the election of the Speaker of Parliament and the whole altercation that ensued. And you said something that we need to build a democratic culture of tolerance and not enmity. Months down the line, we're witnessing something similar, if not worse, in Parliament, where we've seen the minority and the majority literally exchange blows over the e-levy. What did you make of what ensued in Parliament 2 days ago?
I think it was sad to see that. It seems as if this young generation do not appreciate the legacy they've inherited and which they are supposed to add to. Ghana has been the weather vane. We punch by far above our political muscle and weight. People look up to Ghana. We're the first black country to get political independence, and everybody looks up to Ghana.
Yeah.
I remember as far back as 1969, Osajo had been overthrown in 1966. That was 3 years later. I was traveling with Professor Hansinger. We were trying to resurrect the East African Economic Community. And we had gone to Arusha and we were driving back to Kenya. A Maasai warrior stopped us, Professor Hansinger, who created UNIDO, wanted to take a picture with him. I took a picture. The Maasai guy came to me and said, I have to pay him money. He's a warrior. And I said, I don't pay you money. I'm also a warrior. And he spoke to me in Swahili. I said, I don't understand. He said, you are an African, you don't speak Swahili. Where are you from? And I said, oh, across the water. He assumed across the lake. He said, Oboto country. I said, no, far away from that. He said, oh, Nkrumah country. This is an illiterate Maasai. He knew Ghana. Recently, not too recent, about 3-4 years ago, we're having a seminar. An Ethiopian, Abebe Selassie, who works for the IMF. He's very high up in the IMF. He came to me and said, Mr. Pianim, I want to talk to you. And then we started talking and said, look, you Ghanaians, you are making it very despondent for all of us Africans. I said, what do you mean? He said, we look up to you. You came to the fund, you went back, you resurrected our political upheavals with military overthrows. You came back, we're all very happy. You are trying to tell us that there's something wrong with the African. I said, what do you mean? He said, Ghana, you have the resources in terms of people. Kofi Annan was at that meeting. You have the people, you have the natural resources. You've avoided all the natural disasters. No Ebola, no pandemics, nothing. What's wrong with us Africans? And I say, look, Ethiopia is doing, I say, no, we haven't crossed the political, social barriers yet. And he predicted almost the fighting that is going on in Ethiopia. I say, Rwanda. He said, look, they haven't passed the governance structures yet. They will have to break all the things they built before they build governance. People look up to Ghana. So when I saw parliamentarians, if it's muscles we need, we might as well hand over the government to the military. We want our people to be honorable. The term honorable MP is aspirational, so that they become honorable. If they are not honorable, we should take away from them this title of honorable. And I'm expecting the leadership of Parliament to apologize to the whole country. They've disgraced Ghana. They've soiled the black star of Africa. It's not acceptable. Ghana is not like any other banana republic. It's a shame. And I'm expecting the political leaders to call their MPs and tell them to behave. And those of them, they should investigate those who were involved. They should rather be sacked so that the constituencies will send different people who are going to use their brains, not their muscles.
You're saying they should be sacked?
They should be sacked. Their parliament should investigate it and remove them from parliament. They are obviously not fit for parliament. They should join the boxing clubs in Usu or somewhere else.
But Mr. Pianim, and if you could just tilt your camera down a little bit so we can see you properly, just a little. Okay, but if you're saying that they should be sacked, in this case, Parliament cannot remove them. They were elected by the people, and so we'll have to wait to go back to the polls for them to be voted out, maybe. And
there's
so
a
the Privileges Committee. Exactly, but we saw something similar happen in January. We were told that, you know, the Privileges Committee will handle the matter. Till date, we've not seen anything happen to the people who, you know, misbehaved in Parliament in January. What's the guarantee anything would happen this time?
If they don't do it, we'll make sure that these parliamentarians will never be re-elected. This is the 8th Parliament of the Fourth Republic. What happened there is almost like putting a nail in the coffin of the Fourth Republic. If they want politics to go back onto the street, most of these people are young. They don't know what we went through to re-establish a constitutional rule in 1992. People died. People went missing. B.B. Bismarck, a traditional ruler, and a football administrator. Up till now, we don't know what happened to him. He disappeared into thin air. We don't want to go back there. And those who don't believe in democracy, you know, people are in parliament to jaw. Otherwise, they are in the bush sharpening their machetes and cutlasses to fight. We don't want that.
But who do we blame in this case? I mean, the majority is laying the blame at the doorsteps of the Speaker
We blame all
of
the
Parliament.
parliamentarians.
Minority is also saying that it is the first Deputy Speaker who is at fault, because clearly when he assumes position as Speaker, he does not have the right to vote, yet he insists on voting, which is what caused the melee in Parliament. And so they are blaming him. And in fact,
Look,
a number of Ghanaians are as well.
Parliament has been there since 1992. The rules and procedures should be clear. If they are not clear, you go to court to adjudicate it, and the courts will establish what the rules are. Ghana has been praised for going to court when elections finish, and we don't murder ourselves like other people do. Why are these young people disgracing the blaster of Africa? Why are they disgracing Ghana? You know, when I was young and abroad, all Africans claimed to be Ghanaian. Nigerians were claiming to be Ghanaian. Now, they are putting us in a position of shame. You know, they dishonored Ghana. They should all, the leadership of Parliament should apologize to the people of Ghana. And their political leaders should sanction them. If they will not sanction themselves, when it comes to voting, we make sure that these people do not get back to Parliament. They don't belong there.
But if you say you'll make sure, I mean, there are also those other Ghanaians who are of the view that whatever ensued in Parliament was a step in the right direction because the minority was fighting on their behalf, because they've rejected the e-levy and yet majority wants to still pass it. So if this ensued, then that was the only way to really address the issue and say that we still do not want the e-levy.
These are people who were born and brought into politics during the era of Rawlings, when there was no rule of law, one with immediate effect. Can you imagine the Parliament of Buzia, the Parliament of Victor Usu, the Parliament of John Ejekun Kufuor, the gentle giant, degenerating into this? It's disgraceful, and we should all say it's disgraceful. I saw a note from the NPP branch of the UK, congratulating our members for doing that. Is this BJ Darocha's party? I don't recognize it. These people should know that they are representing their constituencies, not themselves. How can this parliament go pass the appropriations bill, meaning go and spend, but they haven't passed the revenue to go with it? How can this parliament pass an appropriation bill that says we are increasing expenditure by 34 billion on top of last year's expenditures? And last year, we had extraordinary revenues coming from the special drawing rights of the IMF, borrowing from Bank of Ghana, dipping our hands into the reserves. So Parliament's job is to find out, do we need to spend so much? We're in the middle of COVID. It hasn't stopped. The president said, I know how to rejig the economy to come back to life. I don't know how to bring back dead people to life. This time, we should be talking to one another. Parliament will have more serious things to do. How to get Ghanaians jabbed so that we don't lose people in the next rush of the COVID. And they are there fighting over how to raise 6 billion, 7 billion. When we can cut expenditures, the 34 extra billion, we can cut expenditures 6 without affecting development at all.
But we've been told again that we need to raise this amount so that we do not go back to the IMF for a bailout. So that means that clearly we're at that point where we don't have a choice than to raise the e-levy, come what may. Otherwise, we're likely to go back to the IMF.
Why e-levy? You can, look, let's talk about the e-levy.
Yeah.
You know, when you take a look at the value of money that is going through Momo and all the other transactions, the electronic platform transaction, that is the value. You have to be able to find out what is the income being generated. It's income you tax, not value.
Yeah.
You know, we used to tax the cocoa farmer 70%, 80% of their turnover. Even now, we are taking about 30% of the cocoa farmer. Cocoa farmer's total income. It was under Rawlings that we changed the system to about 40-50% should go to the farmer of the CIF value. Then Kuford jigged it up to about 60-70%. So we are used to taxing people on their turnover. The monies that are going through the e-levy is not necessarily people's income that we are going to tax. And also when we are taxing, we have to find out. Studies have been made since 2020 because everybody knew that it was a low-hanging fruit. People will be tackling it. And they were worried. Would it be a matter of killing the golden goods, the goods that lays the golden egg? You know, the Momo and the E transactions are a reflection of Ghana using, crossing the digital divide so that we leapfrog, okay?
Yeah.
So a lot of people who have been excluded from the financial services sector and can't go to a bank to open an account can have an e-wallet, which is created by the mobile telephones. So you and I, MTN takes our number, they go to EcoBank and open a wallet for us. The wallet belongs to you and it belongs to me. But because it was MTN, Vodafone that opened the wallet, they treat it as if it's theirs. So they pull in the money. I have sent you money. I'm happy I sent it electronically, and I didn't give it to my brother-in-law to take to the village, who says that his pocket was picked, so the money didn't arrive. You are receiving the money. You are happy it's in your wallet, and it's not under your bed for somebody to steal. There's no need for us to be paying interest on those wallets.
Because at all?
MTN,
at all?
No, at all. Because you don't need it, and I don't need it.
Okay.
So the telecoms are claiming they are sharing it with the banks and with us. They don't share it with us. And this has made, you know, as an unintended consequence, it's made MTN the biggest bank in Ghana. And MTN can go to any bank, do this for me. If you are not doing it, I'm taking my float away. The float doesn't belong to them. It belongs to you and it belongs to me. So so this is where the float is sitting. So if you want money, there are ways of finding out how do you make it. If you are not interested in technology, you know, the vice president, Alhaji, Dr. Kwame, you know, has been boasting about digitalizing this economy. He once said, oh, your national ID card, we can give it to you instantaneously. Why? because he thought the whole country was covered. It's not covered. There are areas you go, there's a hole. You don't get the internet. So you cannot print the card. Also, MTN is the biggest because every village that you go, they have a network. The others don't have a network. So when you start to touch this money, who is paying for it? If the consumer is paying, those people in the village who are getting the money, you think it is their income. It's not their income. I'm transferring money to my workers in my village. I'm transferring money to my sisters who need it.
Yeah.
I'm transferring 78 cities to pay my vegetable woman for the vegetables she had produced and sent to me by motorbike. Is that the type of person you want to tax?
So you don't think it's fair? I mean, in this case, government has already taken some percentage from the telcos on the charges that they take from us when we transact business via mobile money. And now they're saying they're going to tax us as well. So you don't think that it's fair for them to do a double taxation?
Look, what I'm saying is that, first of all, Parliament's job is to ascertain, do we need this money? My answer is no.
Not even at 0.5%?
We don't need the money. We don't need the 6-7 billion that Minister of Finance want to collect. We don't need it.
But how are we going to raise money for,
money for what?
Road infrastructure? They've told us what they're going to use the Elevy for. Road infrastructure. We're talking about youth unemployment. They're saying that this amount is also going to address youth unemployment, address cybersecurity and the like, which is why they need to raise that money.
Okay, your cybersecurity depends upon the network. If you raise the money in such a way that it affects the profitability of the mobile company, the operators, they are not going to invest. And when they don't invest, it means you cannot get access to the internet in the rural areas. It means distance education is affected. People who are learning on the internet is affected. So you are cutting your nose to spite yourself, okay? So all these unintended consequences should have been taken into consideration. I'm saying, first of all, not just nobody built their infrastructure with tax money, okay? That's why you borrow. And they've been borrowing up to our necks, erasing Eurobonds. Eurobonds, fine. What donors will give to you, good interest rate, do it. It's not expenditure. People are... I didn't hear any of our politicians talking about build 200 tarred roads, 200 kilometers of tarred roads. They say we are the biggest expenditures on education since politics began. It's not the expenditure. What is the quality of the people who are living our schools? What is the quality of the roads that we are building? Building tarred roads, by now it should be obvious that the biggest road we should be building is the Volta Lake, making it the main connection between the south and the north. Once you've cut the trees and the lake is being used, you don't need to retire it every 2-3 years. Okay, and you build roads by certain tolls on the road so that outsiders can come and build the road and collect their money from the tolls. You remove the tolls. And you say tax revenue has never been used anywhere in the world to build infrastructure. It's supposed to
widen the tax nets, which is what we are told. But have we been able to define the informal sector? Because they are the ones who need to be roped into the tax bracket so we can raise more revenue. We've not been able to define that, have we?
They talk about the informal sector. These are the people who are selling dog chains on the road. They are part of the informal sector. The farming communities, they are part of the informal sector. The cocoa farmers are paying 30% of their turnover. That is not tax. Does anybody? If you were to take the gold mines, why don't we tax the gold mines 30% of their turnover? It will give finance more than the 6-7 billion that they want. So when you do it, what I'm saying, is it going to affect, whom is it going to affect? Economists talk about a tax being progressive. Progressive is when the richest pay more. So you start with 10%, go to about 30% marginal rate. or is regressive. The poor people bear the burden.
Yeah.
I send money by mobile money. If I'm going to pay the levy, I don't want to pay it. What do? I set up a bank account for my villagers at the Ghana Commercial Bank in Ejusu. So they go there every month to collect their salary from there instead of my sending it by Momo. So I can hedge myself against that. But the poor people, they cannot. This is the only way of their being included into the economy.
Yeah.
When you have mobile money, GSM, they say, look, mobile penetration can lead to your GDP growing about 2-3%. If you take the Kayaye in Accra, instead of they going to sit in Accra all morning waiting for the truck to arrive, they are phoned. The truck with the yams is arriving at Makola at 7 a.m. So they are there at 7 a.m. They save themselves time, they can rest. So a lot of these poor people are making income. What I'm saying, the value that is being generated is not people's income. It's income that you tax.
Yeah.
So the unintended consequences are these.
Clearly meaning that this will be regressive.
Definitely, because the rich people know how to protect themselves against that.
Okay.
And then what happened? The studies that they did, 2020, on Cote d'Ivoire, Uganda, Malawi, Congo, Brazzaville, showed that once you start collecting it, different models, there's a drop in the use of mobile money. Because the big ticket items that belong to people like you, like me, that ones drop off because we find alternative ways of doing it. We are also not sure. So the big ticket items drop off.
Yeah.
And we go to banking. Now, mobile transactions have outpaced payments by check. Okay? Which means that a lot of us would rather send check and then you have to go through the difficulties. You go to the bank, they say, liquidity management.
Yeah.
You cannot collect more than 5,000. Now, we all may move to cash. Bank of Ghana will have to use foreign exchange to print more currency. Instead of our encouraging mobile money e-transactions grow.
Okay.
Once they grow, a lot of the economies then become formal. You have to make it attractive for people to join the formal sector, not just to come and tax them. That's not the idea.
So when Momo agents say that they're going on a strike, because tomorrow they're saying they're embarking on a strike because government has
going on a strike?
The Momo agents, I mean those who transact business for the general public via mobile money, they're threatening a strike tomorrow because they're saying government is not listening to them. They do not want the e-levy, or at least want the percentage to be removed from 1.75% to a lower percentage. But government is not listening to them, and so they're embarking on a strike tomorrow. I mean, the telcos chamber has also released a statement. They're saying that they want to take about 25% off the charges that they're already taking from the general public. They want to engage government a lot more. Minority says that majority does not want to engage, these stakeholders. And so what happens at this point?
Look, there should be listening. There are about, my last report, about 50,000 of these mobile agents, okay? So if you take them, it means MTN has more branches than all the banks put together. All the banks together have less than 1,500 branches. These mobile agents are about 50,000 all over the country. If you were to try to send money for people to collect by ATM, the ATMs don't work because the electricity is poor. It's not always working. You can't collect your money from that. And only at district level do we have some ATMs. So the mobile money, the mobile agents, they are doing a fantastic job. Let's leave them alone. Look, the only thing in the digitalization process that has succeeded phenomenally. Look, it took Dr. Paul Akwa a lot of work to start this idea of digital when he set out gifts, for gifts to be the main motorway for doing that. Then e-transact, another electronic payment platform. And then the fintechs are joining. The fintechs are mainly manned by women, young women, with engineer background who are coming. Why do we want to kill something like that? And you see, what happened in Parliament yesterday also means when there's fighting and scuffling, women don't want to be there. And we want women to be there. If women had been there, and you said we're going to take this mobile money, mobile levy, they would have said, oh, some transfers come for us. You take on the motorway where we remove the tolls. You go to Abna Osei Asare, Honorable Abna Osei Asare constituency. She had bought umbrellas for the women who are selling goods on the road to protect them. Where are Christmas is coming? Where are these women going to be selling their things? And if they don't have a place to sell it, and then I'm going to send money for their upkeep. And she will say, what booming, Abraham, you're beating me. When I'm crying, you are stopping me from crying. You know, parliamentarians have to listen.
But the communications minister is a woman, and she has even added her voice to the call for the e-levy. She says that at least as long as we're not going to charge transactions below 100 Ghana cedis, it's not exactly that bad, because if you're able to transact more than 100 Ghana cedis a day, you are not poor.
Well, if you are able to transact more than 100
Ghana cedis a day, because the e-levy is only going to affect those who transact more than 100 Ghana cedis in a day. And she says that if you are able to transact that amount or more in a day, then you are not described as poor. And so you should pay e-levy. This is a woman. I mean, if you're talking about women and the fact that if we had a lot more women in parliament, we probably would not have encountered that brawl that we experienced. But we have a communications minister who is a woman, and she says that we should go ahead and charge e-levy.
Some prime ministers, the prime ministers that have gone to war, have invariably, largely, or say all of them, have been women. Why? They want to demonstrate that they have more testosterone than men. I'm talking about having more women in decision-making in parliament. And if there is fighting, women don't want to be there. So it becomes a disincentive for women to go there. Look, if you sit down and say that somebody who's sending 100, so if your turnover is 100 cedis, you are not poor. What is the profit on the 100 cedis? 5 cedis, 10 cedis a day. So if you are earning 5 cedis a day, multiply by 30, what is that? 150 cedis a month. Divide by 6. What is that? $20 a month. You are not poor. Is that what she's saying? When they get to parliament, they don't know what poverty is. We pay them well. When there are expenditures, parliamentarians benefit from expenditures. So is that why they approve their appropriations? Because they are going to benefit from expenditures.
So now government has gotten the green light to spend about 145 billion Ghana cedis in 2022, at least from the appropriations bill. And of course, we're all aware that the 2022 budget and government's expenditure is hinged largely on the e-levy. But let's look at revenues that we generated in 2020. That's about 55 billion Ghana cedis. Yet we're supposed to expend about 145 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. Where are we going to get the money from? Which is why they've been pushing for at least the e-levy. So if we say we don't want the e-levy, then what's next?
What I'm saying is, look, we are trying to develop this economy. In the COVID era, we try to protect, just consolidate what you have. And let's wait until we are out of the COVID situation before we accelerate development. You see, when Parliament pass a lot of things, normally, before you do a tax, there's a cost-benefit analysis. This is going to bring me this money. What are the negative side effects? What are the unintended consequences? If this levy means that the poor, and if you do a transaction of 100 cedis, to me, you are very poor. I don't know where Ursula gets the numbers from. 100 is your turnover. It's not your profit. It's not your income. My vegetable lady, whom I sent 78 cedis to by Momo, you cannot term her to be rich because she's doing 78, poor because she's doing 78.
Yeah.
You have to you do the cost-benefit analysis, then you decide whether you want to take money from there. And then expenditures, you take a look at it very carefully. Technical and vocational education services. Apparently, we are now going to make it a service, like the Ghana Education Service. When you make it a service, it means it becomes independent. You appoint a director general, deputy director generals, you build district. The vocational educational centers are not in all districts. You have to build district centers for them. It's capital expenditure and operational expenditure. We set up new regions. It meant appointing regional ministers, deputy regional ministers, buying them cars, building regional offices and all that. If it adds to social cohesion, national cohesion, then the cost is worthwhile. But you are creating additional expenditures before you say, where am I going to get the money? COVID should have taught us, cut your coat according to your cloth. There's no Father Christmas. This government is borrowing as if there is no end. Somebody has to pay for it. If you take a bond, 40-year bond, I'm not going to pay for it. My grandchildren are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Is that equity?
So in that case, then how do you describe next year and the economy? I mean, what do you see happening?
First of all, you managed to divide the country in a way it has never been so divided. Fisticuffs in parliament. Who are going to listen to you? So every parliamentarian, every foot soldier of the party wants to show how strong a supporter he is for the party by being macho. We don't need that.
Okay.
We want joy. And we have to go back to basics.
Okay.
This expenditure, what is it on it for? Do we get value for money? Most of the public investment expenditures, if you sit down and look at it, you can cut 25% of it.
Okay.
That is money, that is stolen money. Look at around Accra, uncompleted buildings that are going on, cars that are coming, that people are driving. Where is the money coming from? So you can cut. There's so much fat on all this you can cut. Okay. You don't go and cut technology promotion that is making the poor inclusive.
Okay.
And not.
What do you say to Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister's management of the economy so far? It's been 5 years going into 6 years. Do you think he's done a good job?
No.
He hasn't done a good job.
He hasn't done a good job. No.
Why do you
borrowed? He's overborrowed. We are not getting value for money. And he needs to realize he is not just a budget and expenditure minister. He is minister for finance. Finance means growing the economy. He said the economy grow. We are the fastest growing.
Yeah.
The narrative is wrong. When you say the economy is growing, everything is honky-dory. And then you are asking workers to tighten their belt. Of course, they are not going to tighten their belt. Ken Ofori-Atta has borrowed more than any other minister for finance. Let's take the District Assembly Common Fund. They are in arrears. Are they paying them? If you don't pay the district, this is the poorest part of the economy. If you are not giving them their monies, where are they? What monies do you expect them to use?
So how do we strengthen our economy then?
We strengthen it by getting value for money.
Okay.
Attracting investors to come. If investors want to come to Ghana and they turn up BBC like yesterday, or Ghana, that's where the parliamentarians are fighting. Is he going to come and put his money here? You need your own resources. Okay, China built their own infrastructure on their own resources because China was saving 50% of disposable income. But first of all, you need your economy to go beyond $2,000 per capita before people's disposable incomes become enough to finance their existential requirements and then put money aside. Then the savings, they also have to be stable.
Okay.
If you put 300 cedis down 5 years ago, that was $300. Now, it's what? 300 divided by 6 is $50. You cannot put, no young person in Ghana can put aside money to invest in real estate because the city is always going up and down like a yo-yo. You cut your cloth, your coat according to your cloth. That's how good. So if you are not able to finance yourself through your own resources, you depend on other people's monies. So you attract investors to come and invest in your economy. And to do that, you need good governance. Your policies have to be predictable and credible so that I know that when I bring in and invest, tomorrow you are not going to say, I'm going to tax you.
Mr. Pianim, so if that's the case, have you also spoken to or reached out to the president, to the vice president? You're a senior member of the party, pardon me, the NPP party. And so if that's the case, have you reached out to them to proffer those solutions, the finance minister, vice president, the president himself?
I've reached out. The finance minister doesn't take my phone calls. The deputy took. I reached out.
When was the last time you reached out to them, sir, if I may ask?
I said 3 weeks ago, I reached out. The president takes my phone calls. He talks to me.
Okay.
He's very busy. Finance minister doesn't take my phone calls. Even when I reach out to his personal assistant to book an appointment, he doesn't give me an appointment. They know what they are doing. Look, what
about the vice president?
What we are trying to do, we've done it before. These transactions that they are going, for example, when we are transferring money electronically from your bank account from America to Ghana, is it going to attract the 1.7 levy? If we wanted it to be positive, to be progressive, why didn't we put a tax on check transactions? So whenever I write a check, there's a levy on that. At least that you are talking to those who can protect themselves, not the poor.
Okay. You're saying the president picks your call. So you have had a conversation with him about this. Have you seen any of your advice being implemented anywhere at all?
What I talked to the president about, I will not talk to you about it.
Okay. I see. But there's been a 40-member FX committee on how to strengthen the city, by the way. Do you think it was necessary? A 40-member FX committee to strengthen the city. Do you think that, it's done any good? Was it necessary?
Look, it was done. I told them this is a slippery slope. The Minister for Finance has no business talking about exchange rate. That is the prerogative of the governor of the central bank. The governor of the central bank is the only individual in the state sector who is chairman of his own board for practical purposes. So the exchange rate and monetary policy does not become a political football. We made a political football by saying the exchange rate, we arrested the exchange rate. It was never like that. Bank of Ghana takes a look and then at the exchange rate where it is going and sees how to be able to protect it. The way to protect your exchange rate is to make sure that that you improve your foreign exchange earnings, all your foreign exchange earnings come to Ghana. Why is it that Ghanaians and investors in Ghana, people who are coming to Ghana, are being exposed. Their credit card details are being exposed, but they are being asked to pay for the test, the COVID test at the airport, to a third-rate bank in Nigeria. When we know that internet-related crime is highest in Nigeria, why can't they pay this money into a bank, EcoBank, CBG, Ghana Commercial Bank? Is the Minister for Finance not aware that these payments are being made to a bank in Nigeria? Is the governor not aware? What have they done about that?
I mean, the issue of you know, the testing, maybe another time we'll talk about it. But finally, I just want to find out from you, sir. Recently, the president was awarded by Forbes Africa as the Man of the Year. And they're saying that the president repositioned the country in the global market space as one reliant on its own resources and strengths. And he's redefining economic development, and it's resonating across Africa. There was a lot of mixed reaction with regards to this particular award that was given to the president. Do you think he deserved it?
Our president has been fantastic in coming up with broad philosophical frameworks for us to work in. When the president says Ghana beyond aid, it means we are relying on our own resources, meaning we are using Ghanaians, okay? Wherever we need. Because look, we are not like the days of President Nkrumah. There is no scientific endeavor, robot space, high medicine, big data, that you don't find Ghanaians excelling. The two black people who are the American Hall of Fame of Engineers are Ghanaians, okay? So we have the people. And the president said Ghana beyond aid. The ministers should implement that. Look inside for our resources. Not borrowing, hoping that there will be a Father Christmas and our debt will be forgiven some way. Or we'll go and restructure. That is not in line with the president's philosophy of Ghana beyond aid. Let's take it. One district, one factory. To me, that was the president saying, let's develop our districts in such a way that it will be fit to welcome industries. It is not rocket science that there are no industries in our districts. The electricity is faulty, so the president is saying, by the time we leave office, let us make sure there's good quality electricity there, there are good roads there, and also, when my cousin comes from London with his family to work in a factory in my district, there's a school, good school the children can go to. When they fall sick, there's a good clinic or hospital for them to go to. That's what one district, one factory means to me. So when you take that, of course the president is on the right path. He's setting all of us, this is what we need to do. It means value addition, cocoa processing. How many factories have we put together since Ghana beyond aid to process our beans into more products for us to make finished products here? So these are big vision items, and I think the president deserves it.
Okay, absolutely.
The president doesn't deserve. What the president doesn't deserve are his ministers and his parliamentarians, who are a disgrace to this country by the way they behave in parliament.
Okay. Have we been exposed? I mean, we heard the vice president say that when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose us. Have we been exposed?
You have to ask the vice president that.
I'm asking you, sir. I'm asking you.
That what? Have we been exposed? What?
You are a world-renowned economist. What I want to find out is if we've heard the vice president say in the past that when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose us. Where we are now with the exchange rate, have we been exposed?
Of course, Dr. Baumia has been exposed by his own exposure.